So didn't have a problem with that. Thought I might. Did not. Hey everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with some goals for this year. So actually, I'm going to do goals for this year as well as reacting to my goals from last year, because I do usually do a separate video of that in December and I just didn't get my act together in time. So I thought I'd just kind of combine them. So if you're curious about one, or you don't care about reacting to last year's goals, that's totally fine. I'll caption, or I will section the video. So if you want one section over the other, feel free to do that. But I thought, while we're talking about goals for the year, we can talk about, let's take a look at last year. Let's just combine them all into one giant video. So we're going to look at last year's goals first, and then we're going to talk about this year's goals. I don't have a ton for this year, and I feel like I didn't have a lot for last year, but we're going to take a look. Going in, before even opening the video and even knowing, remembering, I remember a couple of them, but like not a ton. I feel like I did not do great on my goals from last year, but I went into last year making these goals knowing that I was going to be giving birth. So I knew that the second half of the year was probably not going to be great reading wise. So I was trying to be nice to myself. I think I made some guidelines versus goals. Like I definitely have some very specific, like I know I got a Goodreads goal. I think I had like the list of books that I need to read by the end of the year, things like that. But I think I was trying to be nicer to myself. So I'm going to go into this being nicer to myself, and hopefully it's not going to be ridiculous, but I don't even remember how many there were. So I've got them here on my computer in front of me, and let's just dive in, shall we? Or I panic because I don't think I have a video idea, but I do. I have them. They're here. It's my own anxiety getting in the way is basically what I'm saying. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with my 2024 reading goals. My second goal kind of ties in a little bit because it's also a Goodreads goal. And this one is, we're going to put it in, and then if it feels like too much, I'm not going to worry about it. But this is to do Goodreads reviews. So I did this. There's a couple, actually, as of recording this, from the end of the year that I am a little behind on and I need to do. But I have enjoyed doing that because I make notes on my phone anyway as I'm reading, so that when I do my journals and stuff, I have notes and thoughts, and I kind of like can add things to certain places and just like have kind of pre-written them on my phone as I've been reading, and then make them into something that I can put in my bullet journals. So I figured let's just copy and paste that into Goodreads anyway, and I've done that. I've done that for every single book except for, like I said, 2, which I need to catch up on for this year. And I'm really proud of myself. It was just something that I thought might be kind of fun, even if it's just like a couple sentences here and there. But I have really enjoyed having all of that information in Goodreads. I feel like that's just been really nice. Now, side note, for friends that are doing things, let me know what you think about other platforms, because I've heard some really good things about Fable as well. And I just like having a place, like I use Goodreads more of like for me, in a sense of like, here are my thoughts, here are the books that I've read, here's what I can track as far as like what I own and things like that, so I don't accidentally buy books multiple times, which I have definitely done in the past. So it's more for me than anybody else, but I really enjoyed having that stuff there because I find it helpful when like people that I'm friends with on there have thoughts, and then I can go in and see what other people think. And if, you know, it's helped me with a few books knowing some things before going in. So I thought that I would just add to it, and it's been fun because I do it anyway. So I might as well just stick it on Goodreads. So I didn't actually think I was going to stick to this one, and I have. I forgot this was a goal. I feel very proud of myself. Oh my goodness. The next one is that list of books that I want to read in 2024. You guys haven't seen this quite yet. Okay, so I'm making a face, so you can probably tell. I made a list of 15, I think it was 15 books. Yes, and I wanted to read 10 of them. I was on track to do this. I have read 9. And then I started a 10th one, which was Iron Flame, and I just want to give my full attention to that book, so I'm reading it really, really slowly, and I don't really know when I'm going to finish it. Also, I only read like 20 to 30 pages of it before the year was over, so does it really count, you know? So I did not do this one. But I liked the idea of having the option, and I do feel really good because a lot of like this entire list, I purposely did the theme. I like having themes for these lists, and the theme for this list was sequels, and I was really bad at getting to sequels, and I think I've made some really decent progress. Like I've read, like I said, I read 9 of the 15 books here, so I was really only 1 away. And by the end of the year, there's a couple of books on this list that I just wasn't in the mood for, I didn't want to read, so I liked having that choice. So while I didn't complete it, I'm like 90% of the way through this goal. So, you know, give myself half a point maybe for this one because I didn't do exactly what I wanted, but I did pretty good. And it also made me read more sequels and kind of keep the fact that I've been reading series and trying to complete series to the forefront of my brain, which I really enjoyed. The next one is kind of harder to, well, I'm going to track it and we'll see what happens, but it's going to be to use my library more. Okay, so I think from the previous year, I had this thing where it was like every month I wanted to read this one and this one and this one and things like that. And so I did track, and out of the 12 months, only 4 months I didn't read a library book, like a physical book. Like I have a lot of audiobooks from the library and ebooks from the library, but I wanted to have a physical book from the library. And I only did January, July, November, and December. And honestly, November and December were because we moved and I don't really know where our current library is. So, out of all the months, I did pretty good. I didn't do every single month, but I definitely, I think, used it more than I have in the past couple of years. So, I'll say that one's also a win for me. I think I did pretty good on that one. This next one is going to be harder to track, but I think it's just going to, it's more of me giving myself the ability to do these things. And that is to, if I want to binge a series. Like I said earlier when I was talking. So I've done a lot of like hyped books vlogs. I might have done a couple of like, so those series, Simplify My series, where like I had started a series and I was finishing it, and this really was because I picked up Kingdom of the Wicked sometime last year, not last year, sorry, 2023, and loved it so much that I immediately went and I found the sequel, and then I had to wait for the 3rd one, but it came pretty soon. So I basically binged that entire trilogy within a month, and I loved doing that. And so I wanted to just kind of like, I think it's very obvious, like we should all let ourselves enjoy the books that we are reading, but I wanted to kind of write it down so that I had actual like proof given to myself so that I could say, you need to read what you want. And I think I've done that. I think there's definitely a couple of times during the year where I didn't have a sequel ready to go, or I didn't have the sequel planned, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna read this. Or like it was a duology, and I said, let's go ahead and finish it. Like, for example, when I did One Dark Window, I had the sequel ready to go if I wanted to read it, but I wasn't sure if I was going to want to read it right away. And then I said, you know what, there's only 2, let's do it. And then I was so glad I did, because I would have put so much time between the first 2 and probably never gotten around to it. And now I've finished that series. So I think allowing myself to do that and saying that it was okay from the get-go, silly as it sounds, helped me a lot. So I'm going to say I did this one as well, because while it's harder to track and there's not really anything I can do unless I go through every single book that I read this year, I did, I think, vibe, just kind of remembering how this year went. I think this worked. I think having this was very helpful for me, and I think I did it. Okay, the next one is one that I'm really hoping to stick to, and that is to don't buy as many anticipated releases. I will be doing. Okay, so I have, let me go to my little spreadsheet here, because I still have, this is my spreadsheet from my releases from last year. So, looking at my spreadsheet here, I'm going through and I also I mark the books that are coming out, I mark if I've pre-ordered them, and I mark if I've read them. So I've read a good amount of the books that came out in 2024, and I'm looking here and not a single book that I bought did I not read. Did that make sense? I definitely just lied to you. There's definitely a book on this list that I bought that I didn't read, and that's the third Crescent City book. And that was just, it's thick and I haven't gone around to it yet. So I definitely just lied to you. But still, the fact that there's only like one or two, that's pretty good. There's a handful of books on this list that were 2024 releases that I don't own, but I read them. And I'm just trying to like let myself read books because I want to, and also like maybe don't buy every single book, because definitely like there's definitely some books on this list that I didn't buy that I enjoyed, but like I don't need the physical copy of them. Like for example, the Shauna Maguire Wayward Children's series, I stopped buying those. I've actually unhauled all of them, not because they weren't good. They were. I really enjoyed them. I'm probably not going to reread them. They take up a lot of space on my shelves, even though they're really small novellas. Like there's currently 9 out. There's a 10th one coming out in the beginning of 2025. I don't need to hold on to them. Like I don't need to keep buying them. So I didn't buy them last year, and I read that, and that was good for me. I enjoyed that. So there's a couple of books on this list like that. So I feel accomplished. I feel like I don't need to pre-order things. Now there's definitely some books, like I've definitely already pre-ordered Onyx Storm, which is the third in the Iron Flame series. I just know I'm going to want that book. So there's a couple of them that I am going to pre-order, and I'll probably pick up some throughout the year. But at the moment, I'm trying to do this again where like I don't buy the books unless it's an author. Like auto buy authors are a thing for me. So like unless it's an author and I think it's going to help someone out to kind of pre-order it, then great. But if it's just pre-ordering because it's possibly anticipated, I need to chill on that, because like from 2023, I bought so many books like as anticipated releases as like pre-orders, which was great for the book industry, but bad for me because I never read half of them, and I still haven't read half of them. So I'm trying to be better. Still not restricting myself, because I know buying books that I'm excited about is helpful for authors, but to restrict to ones that I'm actually going to be able to read. And also like I've run out of space, you know, so things like that, you know what I mean? And the very last one is super specific, and that's just to start the Throne of Glass series. So I did this. I read the first 2 books, Throne of Glass, and then the prequel novella collection, Assassin's Blade. I did read both of those. That's it. I have not continued with it. I definitely want to make more progress, but I started it. So, you know, out of those 7, only not having done 1, maybe 2, I ended up having a very good 2024. I definitely thought that was going to go differently. So with that being said, let's take a look at my 2025 goals. I don't have very many because I couldn't think of things that I wanted to do yet. And so this may change throughout the year, but these are the plans. Okay, the first one, as always, is my Goodreads goal. And this year I'm bumping it up to 115 because I usually do 100, and that's pretty easy for me to attain. But I was going to do 150, but I'm not sure I've ever reached 150. Maybe the year of COVID, like 2020 or 2021, I might have read that many, but no. So I don't think that is an attainable goal, but 115 seems pretty attainable because I keep doing 100 no problem. So adding a few more just to see what you know, why not, you know? So we'll see. I may put this down throughout the year as I decide that this is a terrible idea, but we're going to do 115. And then kind of to piggyback on that one, a lot of these are actually similar to the previous one. It's just to continue writing those Goodreads reviews that I mentioned in last year's goals, because I really enjoy doing those, and I'm already doing them anyway. So I'm going to keep doing those. So yeah, that one's really simple. It's just to continue writing those reviews that I have been doing for a year, which proud of me. Like seriously, can't believe I actually did that and kept with it. So we're going to try to do that for another year and see what happens. The next one, as always, is my list of books, my 2025 TBR. So you guys will have not seen this yet, but I'm going to do the same thing as I did last year, where I do a list of 15 books and I have to read 10 of those because I liked having that choice. It gave me, I don't know, I feel like it gave me more options. And the theme for this one is going to be books that I wish I had read last year. So I always make a video like this, and then I ended up not making that video in December. And I feel like this would be a good way to get through some books that I have been putting off for a while, or there's books that I've been really wanting to read, but they're just really thick and I can't make them fit for any of the prompts that I want, and yada, yada, yada. So that's going to be my list. So you'll see that list later on in the month, but that's the theme. And there's going to be 15, but I have to read 10, just like last time. Another one, very simple, is to get a library card. Like I mentioned, I really enjoyed using my library, but it was very close to me. So we used to live in a relatively small town, so everything was pretty close, and now we live on the outskirts of a big city. So the library, A, I'm not 100% sure where it is, and B, it's not super close. So it's not something that I can just pop Peanut in the car and go do at the moment. But I definitely want to be able to use that a library that's close to me. I still have my old library card, so I'm able to do Libby and things like that. But I need to get a new one for the place that is closer to us so I can go pick up the physical books that I need. And I don't know where that is yet. So I'm giving myself the entirety of 2025 to figure it out. All right, this one's also very similar to one from last year, and that is just to make some progress in the Throne of Glass series. So I started it last year, great, became obsessed with it, fantastic, thought it was going to be my personality, I was going to binge it like I did ACOTAR, and then I didn't pick up another book for the rest of the year. So I would like to make some progress. If it's one book, I will be satisfied. If I just pick up the next book, I just need to continue with it because they're super chunky. They're all right here. I have everything except for the very last book. And the first few are real thin. And then once you get to the third book, Air of Fire, they start to get thicker, which is fine. Sarah J. Maas writes thick books. I'm not put off by the thickness of it. I think I'm put off by the longness of the series. I just need to do it. I think it's super hyped in my head, and I'm afraid I'm not going to like it, even though I've read the first book and I know I enjoy it. I just need to do it. So, yes, my goal for this year is to make some progress, even if it is simply reading one more book in the series. I will count that as a win. And then my last goal for 2025 is I did this a couple of years ago, and it's having specific books each month. Like I used to do read a library book, get a subscription book, things like that every single month. This time around I have 4, and some of them are cop-outs, but it's just for my brain. But there's 4 things I want to read every single month. 1, I would like to read a mystery thriller every month. I have really been enjoying mystery thrillers. I kind of read them anyway, so and I have a few. So the plan is to read one every month, hopefully. The next one is to read a subscription book. I have a lot of subscription books, especially backed books from Fairy Loot, and I still get Book of the Month books. And they all look really good, so I just need to read them. So my plan is to read one book from a subscription box a month. Even if I consider special editions that I specifically order from Fairy Loot and Illumicrate, because I definitely have a couple of Illumicrate special editions. I consider those as well as subscription in that umbrella, but just something from a subscription box company a month. The third one is a book club book. So I have been in, my aunt's in a book club, and so I Zoom in for those meetings because it's not in the same state that I am. But I started that in May or June of last year, and I've been really enjoying it. So I need to read one book a month for that series, or for that book club. And it's been fun because there's definitely books that I've read that I never thought I would pick up, but I definitely did. And there's definitely one, the one for January is one that I never would have thought to pick up. And I'm enjoying it, which is great. So I'm doing this anyway, so I'm just going to make it one for me, And the last one is to read a manga. I have so many mangas. I started so many manga series with that video that I did in March of last year, and I really enjoy them, but I keep not reading them, even though it's funny because they're super short. So yes, one manga a month, which would just simply be 12 mangas a year. I think I'm gonna read more than that, but that'll give me an excuse to add something every month, even if it doesn't fit for one of my TBR prompts, and they're super short. So something I can just squeeze in real quick, and I think that'll work really well. So that's it. Some very simple goals, I think, for the year. I think these are all pretty attainable. I'm trying not to do anything crazy yet again, because we're still figuring out this whole reading while being a parent and having a full-time job. It's very interesting figuring out when is a good time to read, you know? So that's still a learning curve, but I didn't want to be too hard on myself, but I definitely love making these videos. So I wanted to do just a quick handful of things that I will be keeping in mind as I start, I guess, 2025. But that's it. So I hope that you guys enjoyed. Let me know some of your goals. If you make goals for the year, I would love to know some of your goals down below. Let me know all of the things, all the bookish things that you are starting out 2025 with. But if you like this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you'd like to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got my social media down there as well as other fun bookish links, so go check all that out. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.